Steve Gergerson here with Site Director Andy Height, and we have a special guest that I'll let Andy introduce to you this morning.
Oh, thank you. We're getting ready to start. Lovely day outside, isn't it?
Just the kind of day we expect in April: sunshine, flowers blooming, birds singing,
Well,
butterflies.
I don't know. I'm convinced that April showers just bring mud.
Lots of it.
Well, anyway, we've been in our last few shows. We've been highlighting some of the board members for the Friends Council, and one of our newer board members, Marcy Miklajewski, and we wanted to bring Marcy on today to talk a little bit about, what her role is and that sort of thing. So we're glad to have you with us today.
Thank you.
I guess you're one of the newer board members. What brought you to the board in the first place?
Well, I have always liked Johnson's Farm ever since my boys were young, and I was always the field trip mom.
We have those.
So, and I would come, and I just loved it over here. I love history, I love antiques, and I love the primitives, the Native American, everything that's here, and just the beauty of this place to walk around. And I just want to see it continue on for many, many more generations.
Well, we appreciate your work. I know all the board members seem to kind of fit into little niches here and there. You were talking about antiques and primitives, but I think she was describing us. I don't know.
I was kind of worried about that. I wasn't sure there for a minute, but and she didn't elaborate too much. That could have made me even more worried.
Oh, well, yeah. So, and you, because of your previous experience, you've kind of taken on, what have you kind of taken on for us?
Okay, well, my previous experience came from, my last job was at the Piqua Chamber of Commerce.
Right.
And there I worked on events and did a lot of publications for promotion of those events, all the little flyers and things like that. And then before that, I worked at a learning place, and there I was the office manager and event coordinator. So 2 places I've done events and office work, and I think that's kind of where I'm fitting in here with graphic arts.
Yeah, so far, and I've actually, I don't know whether Joe can pick it up or not. You've done a couple posters already for us. People around town have probably seen. If I hold this up, can you? Marcy did this one for us for our Mark Twain event, which I know that's going to be here before too long in April. She did this one for us. And the one that you're going to see more around town now is the Dayton Dragons. And sorry, Joe, they're not playing the Lugnuts this year. They're playing the Great Lakes Loons.
That's just as bad.
And it's nice having somebody that knows how to do this. I've tried it, and people will just look at the stuff I do, and all I get is his head shaking. I know, okay, it's time for somebody else to do it. And then you've also done the program for the program for the Mark Twain event too.
That's
so this is going to be. So it's nice having somebody that's got the time and got the talent to do that, and we surely appreciate all of that. That has helped a lot. My brain went away. Now, what do you see maybe as a role of the board, with the Friends Board?
The Friends Board, a bunch of great people to begin with. I really enjoyed meeting everybody and getting to work with them all. But I see us as the promoters and the keepers of the farm, to make sure that it continues on with its high quality, and to go out into the community and get people in the community behind us to want to sponsor us and to understand, all that we have to offer here.
Yeah, it's amazing how many people just locally maybe don't know everything that we do. Some don't even know we're here, and other people I think are becoming aware now of the challenge that the board has, because they basically are you guys are our manager now. You know, you basically run the site, and, you know, with that has come the financial responsibility. And I think people are a little surprised, you know, we've got to pay the bills. We have to pay the light bill. We've got to pay the, you know, all the utilities and all that comes with it too. And, you know, we're coming into the time of year, you know, well, of course we have to feed our animals all year long. We have to take care of them. Some maintenance is our responsibility. So there's a lot involved, and, you know, this is a learning process, I think, for the board too, because,
Definitely.
you know, when this group was originally established, it was just for extras. You know, they funded a staff position part-time. You know, they help pay for events and things like that. But as the management agreement came into effect, and, you know, we took over management of the site, you know, the roles changed immensely, and I think we're starting to really fit into that and see where that works now. So I see a lot of growth, you know, fairly, you know, in the last year or so, a lot of positive changes have come about. So each person has a little bit to do. You know, we really appreciate what you do.
Thank you. I enjoy doing it.
It's nice, you know. Marcy, can you do? But you know, it helps us here, you know, because, you know, especially now coming into the yellow troop carrier season, it's nice having people that can take some of that load off, because we get wrapped up with school groups now. The next 2 months are a little busy.
Definitely. That,
Steve can attest to that.
wow, I was looking at the schedule the other day, and I thought, you know, we start tomorrow and just kind of roll through to the first day of June, and it's...
Yeah, tomorrow's just going to be a lovely day there
Oh, my.
with the forecast they're calling for.
I'm trying to figure how to dress, you know.
Well, we appreciate dressed.
Well, I thought it would probably be better. I thought my gym shorts and T-shirt might not be too good tomorrow. So, but I'm trying to decide can you keep it canal authentic and period authentic, or do you just come and stay warm and try not to freeze and hope some kid doesn't show up in a pair of shorts tomorrow?
Well, you know, that's what amazes me. You know, and we see this time and time again. You get a bad day like this, and you'll see a kid will roll off the bus in a T-shirt and a shorts. And
Yeah.
what?
And then whine when they get on the boat and there's a little breeze in the water, and it's a lot of fun. But I'm not going to freeze tomorrow. I know that.
No, I can always put enough clothes on to stay warm and dry. You know, sometimes it's tough in the summer.
Yeah, when the weatherman said last night on the news, he said, "Yeah, we might even see snow." And he said on Friday, and he said, "Probably in the afternoon." I thought, yeah, just about the time we get on the canal boat.
But now
it'll start
we have in
snowing.
the fall. It's been several years. It's before your time. We have done the canal school groups with snow in the canal.
Wow.
But it was a Troy school, so so that was all right. But yeah, early spring is tough, and then the same thing. You get into the end of October, we battle, you know, the weather a little bit. But I think it probably bothers us more than it does the kids, because they're just, you know,
Yeah.
they're enjoying themselves, and it's especially this time of year they're starting to finish the year, and it's.
So what all do the kids get to see?
Well, when the groups come, we basically do 3 different things. We do the farmhouse, the museum, and the canal boat, and then we break those down, because in the farmhouse, and we've worked real hard. I've worked with the Piqua teachers primarily. You know, what can we do to fit into the state curriculum? Because, you know, anymore when somebody schedules a field trip, it's got to be something that's going to provide an educational experience for the kids. Used to be, you know, you take the kids to the zoo, or I remember one time back years ago, we went to a soft drink bottling plant, you know. You know, it was a great time, but it didn't have anything to do with anything. So, you know, we address curriculum issues very squarely. In the farmhouse, we use the drawing room. They get a little bit of a history of the Johnston family, what the Johnston contributions were, what life was like for a family living on the frontier, because people don't really realize a lot of times that this was the American frontier. You know, when the family lived here, you know, America wasn't really any further west. So we talk about that. They go down and we use the winter kitchen, and there they get the idea of what was food preparation like, what did a family have to go through to, you know, you didn't have the microwave to pop your TV dinner in, you know, what did it take to produce a meal for the family. We talk about that down there, and then Sherry Barhorse does a great job in the Spring House where they talk about fiber preparation. You know, today when you want a shirt, you go to the mall and you buy one. Well, you know, with the Johnston family, it wasn't so much that way. So what did it take to go through all that sort of stuff? So, you know, those are areas that are real specific to the fourth grade curriculum. And so we hit that. They come up here to the museum. The museum tour is really twofold. We talk about the Native American history and the interaction between the Euro-American culture and the Native American culture. And again, that's part of fourth grade curriculum. And then Steve gets them and just completely messes them up when he talks about canal history and tells his stories. And kids are so baffled when they walk out of that room, they don't know what's true and what isn't. The only thing you know for sure is her name is now Bob.
Right, yes, everybody's Bob, so that way I don't insult anybody by calling them the wrong name or forget their names.
So, but you know, so we and we keep them on the move. You know, there's not a lot of downtime with a field trip, and you know we build in obviously lunchtime, and then you try to get food from them. And
Well, just their dessert, in case it's spoiled, I always tell them I'll taste test it for them, so.
never get any takers, so do you?
They're too smart for me.
And then we always do a canal boat ride with the groups, and they really enjoy that. That was one of the things that changed because they didn't used to do canal boat ride for the kids, you know. And so we, you know, at first we kind of did this incrementally. At first we just brought the boat up to the dock and we went down and talked about the canal on the boat. I said, well, okay, we've got the boat out already. Why don't we just do a boat ride? So you know, we've been doing that for several years, and I think that's a highlight of a lot of the kids' trips.
It's a favorite part.
It is, and the thing that I struggled with when we first started doing this was, you know, especially kids from a real urban area, you know, they're fascinated by the frogs and the snakes and the fish and the turtles and all that sort of stuff, and I started to realize, now wait a minute, they've never seen that before, so that's probably as important and that's what we're talking about on the boat. So we've tailored our experience a little bit so they get both. They get the canal story and then they get the nature side of it. So, and we do keep them busy. We see, I think we've talked about this before, we see about 5,000 fourth graders a year. And that's a lot of fourth graders. Primarily fourth graders. We see some third, we see some younger kids. But they all pretty much get the same thing. We tailor it to the age group, and then we get some adult groups too in the spring and the fall. So, yeah, we keep them busy.
You know, and the neat thing is too that with getting out kind of a curriculum guide for the teachers and stuff, the kids come in and it's a lot easier to present at least the canal part of it because they're pretty well versed on what the canal was all about, the whole idea of transportation and how, you know, for the teachers, how it fits into that curriculum area, so.
Well, and two, you know, you can always tell when it's been a teacher that's been here
Right.
several times because they know what we're going to cover. And each year the kids come in a little bit better prepared. And you're right, though. You know, our students do come in, even in the spring or even in the fall when they're just starting the school year. They do come in pretty well prepped.
Right. And that, you know, that makes it even, I don't want to say easier, but it sure makes it a lot more fun because you can really interact with the kids and they feel like they're involved and that's what it's kind of all about, I think. So.
And you make them laugh too, don't you?
Oh, yeah. Well, I scare the daylights out of them because I tell them about canal alligators. And about a half of them believe them, and half of them think, I don't know if he's telling us the truth or not. Then I show them a scar on my hand and they go, oh, there really are canal alligators. So, but it's, you know, they have a good time. We have a good time on the boat. And they learn a lot too, so that's the important thing.
And, you know, it might be interesting too, you know, I've never thought about this until just now. You know, it would probably do us well to, you know, if a board member hasn't seen a school visit to to tag along so they know what we're doing. And really, even during when we go into the visitor season in June, July, and August, we still basically tell the same stories. We still do the same sort of thing. One of the differences, though, is at the farmhouse especially, they do get to see the whole house because they've got more time.
Right.
A lot of times with the school visit, we may have 45 or 50 minutes for the kids, so we can't do as much of the house as maybe we might like to. But we've pulled those 3 areas out for the school visits because those are the 3 that really hit the curriculum well. So
Yeah, that's what I wanted to ask you. Like in the summertime, let's say on a Thursday afternoon, cousin comes in with all her kids and we need to go someplace. Bring them over here.
bring them over here, and that's
Well, what will they see? Will it be just like?
it'll
the
basically be
baby-
just like what they see with the school visits. The house is always, well, it's always a guided tour. And sometimes when you go to a historical house, you go to the house and you get the little chain or the little plexiglass wall inside a room, and you can poke your head in, and that's about it. When a visitor comes to our house, they're always with a staff member or volunteer, and they go, walk right into the rooms. They're right amongst the collections, so they get a much better experience
Definitely.
than what you might in other places. I know a good example of that is a Henry Ford home in Dearborn. You got a little plexiglass wall, and you kind of can look in. And you maybe will get right inside the door, and that's about it. Here you can walk up to different things in the house. Of course, now we always tell people don't touch or we'll break your fingers. But
But I think it helps them to imagine what it would be like to live back at that
yeah,
time.
and we were talking about that. I had a group here the other day. We were talking, and obviously our house is not like your normal, average. I shouldn't say normal, but your average person would have been living when the Johnstons lived here, because most of the people were living in a 1-story log cabin, maybe with just a dirt floor, and then they come to a house like this. But the students, especially the younger visitors, will look at that and say, "Oh my, I couldn't live like this." But what people have to realize or should realize is this house, going back to the 1820s, people didn't know any differently. Mm-hmm. And this was pretty fancy. We look at it and say, oh, ooh, there's no heat, there's no this, there's no that.
Plumbing.
No plumbing, well, no indoor
I think
plumbing.
I could do with everything except that, without that.
Yeah, that's,
But it is fun to imagine yourself in a simpler time.
Mm-hmm. And a lot, I think people do enjoy that. It is a trip back because, a lot of time, when we were all growing up, if we went to our grandparents' house, they were really living in a different world than what we were living in. Today, when our grandkids come to our houses, it's the same world that they live in. So, they don't even have that little bit of time switch. Mm-hmm. So to make that step back to where the Johnstons lived, I think it does bring home to them, gosh, things have really changed a lot. And we talk about that in the museum a little bit from the context of, I always tell, everybody that does the museum basically does the same thing, is, when the Native Americans were living here, they were prehistoric, they were Stone Age culture, wood, stone, and bone tools. Well, here comes the Euro-American trader, and he's bringing the modern world to these people, and so their lives changed just in the blink of an eye. And so we talk about what was that impact. So we still kind of carry that story on down here, and in a way with the transportation as well.
Yes.
People get on the canal, and they say, "Well, this is really slow." I said, "Well, yes, but think about 1835. This is how fast the world traveled. It didn't travel at 70 miles an hour on the freeway. It traveled 4 or 5 miles an hour because that's how fast people walked." And And so, we really do, try to take people back to another time. And I think one of the, of the canals in Ohio, and I'm going to be prejudiced a little bit here, of the 4 canal operations in Ohio, we're probably the closest to taking people back once you leave the dock to what the world was, because the modern world really disappears when you leave our dock.
It does. We've
And-
been to Grand Rapids, and, the boat's a little different than ours. It's not quite as authentic, I guess, and, going along with people walking along the walkway and stuff like.
Well, and then the highway with the trucks going up and down right beside you makes a little bit of difference.
But you get out on our place, and man, you get past the dock, and it's pretty peaceful. It's a little wild. It's probably what the canal really looked and operated like.
Yeah.
So it's a good rollback in time, so to speak.
And that kind of rolls into the events that you guys help us plan and promote. We really try to do events that families can come to. That you can bring your kids or your grandkids,
Yes.
or you can bring your neighbors or somebody from out of state that comes in to visit for the weekend. And a lot of times, some people are starting to pick up on that, because we'll start to get phone calls. Well, what you got going on this weekend? So some folks are starting to think of, oh yes, there is something out there, and that's where the Friends membership comes in. If you join the Friends group here, that gets you admission to the site, and we see. I think we've used this term before. There's one particular set of grandparents here that I think of. Won't name them, but we call them our frequent flyers, because you can always tell when the next set of grandkids are here, because here they come back, different kids.
But it's safe. It's safe entertainment.
And we'll
Awesome.
even use Joe as an example. Joe gets family coming in from out of the area, and in will come Joe, bringing somebody else along. And and that's good, because then they go back, hey, we did this and we did that, and it's a lot of fun. And in the summer especially, we'll see kids from our spring groups. We'll drag the parents along, and so you start to see that happening.
Yeah,
Good
that's
idea.
the one thing I get from kids a lot as they get off the boat. Oh, now when are you guys open in the summer? And I'm going to make Mom and Dad come back here. This is neat. So that's a good thing to do that too. I think.
Yeah, and a lot of those kids will come in. It's fun to watch them, because I don't know whether they do it in a farmhouse, but I know down here they'll do it. The student will take the parents and do the tour. Well,
So they actually listen.
Yeah, they actually paid attention. Darndest thing.
I wasn't always so sure about my kids.
Well, again, I think it goes back to the expectations now have changed so much from field trips. From even the time that your kids or our kids were doing field trips, that education component was there, but not like it is anymore. I'll have groups of college students that are going to become teachers, and one of the things I always tell them is, make sure that if you schedule a field trip, that it's going to fit into what you're doing with your kids. Make sure it's an extension of your classroom. And I always encourage a new teacher to visit where you're going to go before you take the kids, so that you know what's going to be presented. And we, even with the school groups, we try to make sure that what we're presenting, is age appropriate. Is something that you don't have to. The teacher doesn't have to go back to the classroom and explain. Well, that was in. We try to do that very carefully, and again, the same thing in the summer. Parents or grandparents can bring kids out, and not worry about. It's just like you said. It's a safe environment. It's a family environment. They don't need to worry about what they're going to see, what they're going to hear. We try very hard to do that. And I think we do that pretty well. The fact that we have so many school visitors, that's positive, And of course, obviously, we'd like to see more visitors in the summer, but, one of the keys when we do an event, a lot of times we'll see people will come when we open, and they'll be here almost to the time that we close. So, they spend a lot of time once they get here.
Mhm.
So, And I guess that brings us to our events, huh? That you've helped promote, because
Okay.
you've done all the posters. You know, we've got a busy season. Of course, we've got Mark Twain coming up. Not know when this'll air, but that's coming up on the 21st of April up at the hotel, which should be a really great evening. We're looking forward to that. Oh, Joe's going to zoom in again.
I researched this Warren Brown on the internet, and he goes all over the country and portrays Mark Twain, and just at events like ours.
Yep.
And interesting, makes people laugh, and takes them back in time. So this is going to be a really enjoyable evening. The food is by Mrs. B's, and I have a menu.
Yeah, that's,
the start of a
she's
menu.
outdone herself.
She has. She's even doing a salute to Mark Twain with things like corn pone, which is green chili cornbread, Saratoga potatoes, homemade potato chips, apple puffs, which are fried apple pies. And of course, she's going to have some of her other fancy things too, like hummus and cheese logs, warm sherried crab dip with grilled bread and crackers. I will draw him in on the food alone, I think.
You know,
here.
we're going to have to pry him away from the buffet line.
And we're having music. We have a brass quintet, which Andy is a part
Yeah,
of.
4 of the 5 are pretty decent. They got one ringer in there. But,
I didn't know you played the tuba.
yeah.
But they'll be playing, what, music from?
In fact, we rehearsed last night. We're going to be doing music basically from the Civil War up to the early 1900s. We tried to pull in things that fit into Mark Twain's time. One of the things that we're doing is we're doing a Henry Fillmore trombone feature. And Fillmore, who was from Ohio, Fillmore and Mark Twain were contemporaries of each other. So.
And
Be
Fillmore
good.
was here in Piqua several times.
Yeah.
Directed the Piqua High School band on a couple of occasions, so that makes it even more local.
Yeah. So we're going to have a good time. The plan, our plan, we'll be playing during the food. So and something I've always wanted to do. I hope it'll work, is we're going to try to set up in the balcony in the ballroom, and play from up there. So. If we can get if we can all fit up there. If not, we'll sit down on the floor. But it should be an evening that really goes back in history. It seems like this is the kind of event that the people have responded well to when we've done them in the past, and there's still time to call to get some reservations. So
They just call here to the
just
museum.
call here, and we'll be happy to make the reservation for them. So that's coming up, and then our next event, you did the poster for that too. This is the
For the
third,
Dragons.
this is the third year that we've done the fundraiser for the Dragons. You can see that poster. Really well done. That's just
Thank you. I try.
but
I think it's so exciting. I've been to one of these games before where you get the suite, and it's like there's an indoor glass room and an outdoor area where you can sit. So I figure if you're really into the game, you'll want to sit outside, but if you're like me, you want to be in the room chit-chatting with everybody and eating the food and having fun that way. But it's for 20 people. They all get hats.
yeah, they treat them very
shirts.
well. And last month we had Bob Lyons and Gloria here, and they were talking about how well people were treated. And it's a great, for 3 tickets for $25, and if you win it, it's what, like a $1,000 or $2,000?
Yeah, $1,000 value.
$1,000 value. So for $25, you can't hardly beat it. It's a good evening. That's and obviously that's a fundraiser for us, and so we appreciate that. Something I do want to mention here, speaking about fundraisers, before I forget. We've been very fortunate this year. We've gotten some very good support from the corporate community here in Piqua, and has made a lot of this possible this year. And we want to thank those people, and I'll take a couple minutes here. And she's got them in alphabetical order. Wow. That's,
We'll have to invite her back.
yes. Makes my life easier. But we really do want to take and thank these people because, and if you see any of these folks on the street or if you're into their businesses, please thank them for making, to helping support what we're doing out here. A.M. Leonard is a supporter. Greg and Alyssa Blankenship, Buckeye Insurance, Comfort Inn, Crayex, Dan and Margaret French, McCulloch Baker Insurance, McCulloch, Felger, Fike, and Gutman. The Miami Valley Center Mall. If you go out to the mall, there's 2 windows that have got a lot of it going to be up all summer that will be promoting the site. Craig and Nancy Mullenbrock, the Pickwa Library Foundation, Unity National Bank, and WPTW. So those folks have been willing to and see the value of what we're doing and want to support us, and we appreciate that very much. And there's still an opportunity for others to become a part of this list, and that helps us, as we go through. So I want to make sure that we thank those people because it's important that they get the recognition for making what we're doing possible. So yeah, and that was nice having that in alphabetical order. I like that. I wondered how I was going to get through all that. And then, of course, we get into June. We start our regular our events that we do during the summer. Our first one is on June 11th. We're doing, we call that Family Day at Johnston Farm. That's right before Father's Day, so if a dad or grandpa comes in with the kids, dad or grandpa gets in free. And I don't give away many admissions.
That's true.
So, that's a free, and what we're also that day, we're going to have the official opening of the Eastern Shawnee exhibit. Last year we had the Miami Nation told their story from removal to the present. This year the Eastern Shawnee have come in and they're putting in an exhibit that tells their story from the removal period to the present time. And so we're going to officially open that at noon on that day. So that will be part of the, part of the day. In July, the weekend after the 4th of July, the 9th and 10th, we're doing our History Alive, which is a historical timeline of the different. We've got encampments and reenactors are going to portray the different periods of time that was this site. A lot of times people don't really realize, the span of time and span of historical events that this site has seen. We go back to the 1740s with the Pickawillany Village, just prior to the French and Indian War, then up through the Civil War. So, we're working on developing that. On August 20th is our evening on the canal where we do the catered dinner and the dinner in our canal room, and then an evening canal boat ride, and that's a little bit different because they get to see the whole canal. Typically we do half the canal, and they get to see it in the evening, and it's a whole different experience. One year we had a gentleman on doing storytelling, and he had been we had some kids on board, and they were just having a ball. And he waited until it started to get dark, and as we were coming back to the dock, he started to tell a story about calling spooks. And he's calling them out of the woods, and the kids are starting to looking for the ghost to come out of the woods. So we do things like that. That'll be August 20th. In September last year, and you guys were part of this, and probably be again this year.
I think I was the murderer.
Yeah. We're doing a murder mystery, murder in the museum, but this year it's going to be a murder in a California winery.
Ah.
So I don't know whether we'll get you tanked before that. But we're going to do that. And we arrived at the 24th of September. That was a very scientific way that we did that. 24th of September is Ohio State's bye week. Because I've caught grief before for scheduling things when there's an Ohio State game, especially if it's a home game. So this year, there's no excuse. That was very scientifically arrived at. Then on October 1st is our fall celebration, where we'll do some fall events out at the site. We'll do a hayride, we'll do a couple canal boat rides. We're looking at the possibility maybe at that time, because that would be the appropriate time, of maybe doing something with a pawpaw cook-off. Something like that, because there's lots of ways you can use pawpaws, which I really wasn't aware of, but some people have been researching that.
Yes, a couple of people have. and so there are
I
kind
know
of good
this is
things to
probably a
do.
stupid question, but what is a pawpaw?
How do you describe a pawpaw?
It's kind of banana-like.
Yeah,
Consistency of a banana, that it grows around here pretty frequently, and
we got several down along the, you've heard of pawpaw patch. We got
Yeah.
several down by the canal.
There
So
really is such a thing.
yeah, there really is such a thing. There
It's not
really
like
is a pawpaw
not like a
patch.
snipe or a.
No, it's not like a snipe or a canal
I
alligator.
thought you were trying to pull one on me. Okay.
They really
I
exist.
don't want to miss this.
That's right. You don't want to miss
I'm
that.
not a good cook, but I can eat.
There you go. And then in December, we'll do our Christmas on the Farm event, probably going to be Irish again this year. So, we'll be keeping busy this summer, and then into the fall. And then we get done with Christmas event. We start to gear up for the next year, and we'll be doing History Day will start in March, and then from there, it's all downhill. Yellow troop carriers roll in April, so here we are. But, I appreciate you coming in today. I know you were a little apprehensive about, this was painless, wasn't it?
Yes, it was enjoyable. Not so scary as I thought it would be.
Well, we're basically harmless.
that's true.
I have my two pillars holding me up here.
Or you called worse a lot of times.
Talk about being harmless. One year, we'd gone fishing in Canada. We were coming back through, and we zipped right through customs, and older son said, "How'd that happen?" I said, "Nicholas, they looked in the car and they realized that we were just completely harmless, and they just let us through." Well, I appreciate you coming in, because I think it's important that people start to see who all's involved, with the board and the reach of the board. We've got people that are, involved, interested in the canal. We've got people that are from this, involved in the city. We've got citizens like yourself that are involved. So, I think it's the school community is involved. So it's good to see who all makes this thing go. And then, of course, you might get accosted on the street. "Wow, that's the dumbest thing I've ever seen anybody do." And they might be right, But, the board's, job is very important. Because you are the managers. You run the site now. So it's your responsibility, not mine.
But we could not do it without you.
Well, we've got a good staff, good volunteers here, and they're really the ones that make this go. So
They do.
we appreciate everything, and we appreciate Joe back there behind the camera. He's been doing this for I don't know how many years now, but I think we've pretty well. We are one more shameless commercial, and then we'll finish. It is, we are on a membership renewal period, and if you
Right.
have not renewed your Friends membership, we encourage you to do that. Or if you've never been a member before, we'd surely like to have more friends. And this is the time to do that, because a membership gets you unlimited daily admission to the site, discounts in the museum shop, discounts for our special events like the Mark Twain event, and the dinners and things like that. So there are a lot of benefits, we like to think, to being a member. And I can't stress enough, that since this is a Friends Council activity or operation, all of the money that's generated stays local. It doesn't go anyplace else. It goes strictly for the support and the operation of the Johnston Farm. Nobody else gets any of this. It doesn't go to Columbus. It doesn't go anyplace else. All of the dollars stay right here with the Johnston Farm. It stays in a local bank. It doesn't go any further. Oh, bank. We missed them. Unity National Bank is one of our sponsors too. Did I read that?
I thought you did.
If I didn't, I just did.
They get double billing.
Okay. So anyway, that's my shameless promotion.
But you forgot that there's going to be a presentation on the Pickawillany site coming up here shortly too.
Oh, that's right.
You gotta promote that a little bit.
Got to promote that.
Shamelessly, of course.
And I have to, I don't remember the date.
I think it's the Tuesday night before the Mark Twain.
Yeah, that's
I
right,
believe.
that's right. Somebody we're going to do a presentation on the Pickawillany site at the library at 6:30, I believe,
I believe it's right.
in the program room on the first floor. And I guess if we get too many people in there, we just have to make Mr. Oda move us. And we will talk about the Pickawillany site. I think I called the program here "Two Worlds Collide," or the collision of cultures, because and that's kind of the theme of this museum, is you have two specific, very different cultures coming together, and we'll talk about the interaction. And also, used to be when you talked about Pickawillany, people just talked about the gruesome stuff on the story of the events that happened on June 22nd, 52. But, the Pickawillany story really reaches much beyond that. And I want to talk about some of the socio-political or geopolitical economic implications of the events in Pickawillany. That sounds awful.
It does,
That sounds almost academic, doesn't it? Jeez, oh, Pete, fooled you guys. Actually, I've just been reading, started reading a book that was given to me this spring that talks about, it's talking about the Native Alliance's interactions from the Great Lakes areas, and how the European nations thought they were controlling the native population, but it really was the other way around. The native population was really, the European nations became the pawns of the Native Americans. It's really an interesting look at things, and I'm hoping I'm working through that, so that maybe have some more stuff to throw in as we get to the Pickawillany program, and I completely forgot about that, but that's the Miami County Historical and Genealogy Society program. So yes, that's coming up pretty darn shortly, and I suppose I
is.
probably should get ready for that, shouldn't I?
Probably so. That would probably be good.
Well, I've got the PowerPoint is done. It's ready, so I just need to refresh and think about that a little bit. So we'd invite people to come, and price is right for that.
Yes, it is. It is. Just be there and you'll get in.
That's right. So I think you anything else you'd like to add before we wrap up?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Well, I guess it's time to wrap things up without forgetting, though, our world-famous director, producer, chief grit, videographer, cameraman, sound technician, and most importantly, an all-around nice guy who's humble
Humble
as
as
the
the day is long.